Hey, I'm going to get struck straight into it because I haven't done Facebook live streaming consistently for a little while. It doesn't populate for a very long time, so I'm just going to get on with it. So today I've spoken or posed the question about have you quit on yourself and why honouring your commitments to yourself are so important. And I conducted a survey last week, I think it was, and I've had over 200 responses from women entrepreneurs. And one of the questions that I asked them about was, what is one of their greatest fears? And over 40% of those women said that they fear not being good enough. And so not even the fear of failure. It was more about this fear of not being good enough. And there was another one. I'm just going to look at my notes. And the other one was the fear of putting themselves out there. And what that speaks to me about is the fact that there's such a, even ambitious, driven, successful women entrepreneurs still have this fear of not being good enough and still have this fear of putting themselves out there. And so the reason that I'm asking you about have you quit on yourself yet and telling you why it's so important to honor those individual commitments is because every time you honor a commitment to yourself every single day, you strengthen your understanding that you do what you say you're going to do. And it makes you feel good about that. It helps you to really ground yourself in the fact that I'm a woman of my word. I do the things that I say that I'm going to do, even when nobody's watching. So I showed you a couple of days ago this list of mine, that I have, that I'm filling out every day. And just like everybody else, I find the discipline of consistently applying the small things challenging sometimes because I'm a free spirit, like most entrepreneurs are. We like the idea of structure because we know that we need it to be able to stay on purpose and all of those things. But it's also the thing that frustrates us the most. We want to be able to just come and go as we please and do what we want when we want. So it's finding the balance about both of those things. But, we're at day 3 now, day 3 of the year, and I've never been more determined than ever to see this thing out and to practice the discipline of ticking every single box on that list. And one of the commitments that I made to myself towards the end of last year, that come the 2nd of December, I was going to do a 30-day Bikram yoga challenge. So every single day for 30 days, I was going to go and do a Bikram yoga class. And, yesterday I woke up, I planned to go earlier in the morning, about 9:30, and I just got my head down and, into creating this new program that I'm writing at the moment. And so I figured, I'm going to go tonight. That's going to give me all day to get this done, and then I can go tonight. And of course it was hot, all that sort of stuff, and I thought it was already hot. I don't want to go sit in a room. And I got there, and I was so glad I went. It was 90 minutes. I did the whole class. I wondered how I would go. The instructor mentioned at one point the room was 39 degrees, so it was pretty hot in there. And afterwards she came up to me, because I've done it a few times, but not for many, many years and never consistently. And she said, oh, you did great. You did the whole class. And I said, yeah, I wasn't worried I wouldn't be able to do the whole class. I was worried about some of the poses with my hip. And so I had to modify a few things, but I stuck in there. And again, even through that 90-minute process, there were times when I felt like I could make excuses about my hip. And it's like, oh, I don't think I should do that one, or I think I need to modify this one. And I had a moment where I said to myself, remember, you were committed to doing this and doing it properly. So no excuses, no regrets. Just remember to give everything your best. And I did, I gave every single posture my very, very best. And I came away feeling really good about it. And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling really proud of myself that I did it. I don't know why I was putting it off for so long. I think I needed to get my body to a place where I felt like I was going to be able to get the most out of it. But it was a commitment to myself, and now I'm there. The next 30 days, that is just what's happening. And so the reason for committing to that is my posture needs some work at the moment, and my flexibility needs some work. And I'm not disciplined to work on those things on my own. I'm just not. I like to run fast and kick things and lift weights, but the blink your eyelids stuff to try and strengthen and stretch, it's not really my thing. So that's why the yoga was so important. And I've noticed my posture getting more hunched because I spend so much time on the computer. And so that was my commitment to my posture needs to be sorted. My flexibility needs to be sorted. What's the best way to get to this? And the Bikram yoga was, normal yoga just bores the crap out of me. Sorry for those yoga people, but Bikram's great. I love the challenge of it. And so that was the thing that I needed to do to commit to that. And then the act of committing to it day by day by day, even though my hair is going to look like hell for a whole month, because there's just no getting around it. It's just, anyway. This was something that I really needed to do, and I'm focused on how I'm going to feel at the end of 30 days. So when I was in that class and I was watching the women and men who have been there for a long time, obviously, really nailing all of those poses, you know, I may not be there at the end of the 30 days, but it's like I'm going to be so much closer to that than where I am right now at the end of 30 days. And so I'm focused on the end result. I'm enjoying the process as well, but I'm really focused on that. I'm not going to quit on that. I don't intend to quit on that. And I usually don't quit on things, and it makes me feel good. And that's how I've been able to build the confidence that I have to go out and do the things that I want to do. You know, I don't let confidence hold me back in anything anymore. And I know from my survey that, you know, not feeling good enough and, you know, not having, you know, having this fear of putting themselves out there, it all comes down to confidence and self-belief, you know, how you think about yourself, what you believe about yourself. And if you start quitting on those commitments that you make to yourself, it doesn't matter how big or small they are. You know, the old, you know, that example about, you know, do you make your bed every day? Because that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about how you go about things. So the first thing that you do for the day is make your bed. You do that, and then you're the sort of person who just would never go the day without making their bed. It's honoring those commitments to the little things, and they all pile up over time. But if you keep quitting on yourself, it does so much damage because you lose faith in yourself to do what you need to do. You lose the ability to back yourself, to say, you know what, when things get tough, you know, I know I'm going to quit, because that's just, sorry, you lose the ability to say, you know, I don't quit. And you back yourself, and you know that when things get tough, you're going to do what it takes to get yourself through the other side. You don't need to know how you're going to do it. You don't need to know, you know, anything other than the fact that you're willing to do what it takes to reach the next step. And the next one after that will take care of itself. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So don't quit on yourself. I don't care what it is. Make it your commitment this year just to not quit on the commitments you make to yourself. So if you've committed to launching something, if you've committed to sending out an email, if you've committed to getting on stage this year, if you've committed to whatever it is, you have to do it. You can't quit on it, because another year of quitting on yourself is going to keep you stuck where you are right now. It's so important, and it might not seem like much. You know, our beautiful little house that we live in, I don't know how I missed this, but we don't have a dishwasher. I think in the excitement of the house, it's just like, we'll take it. And didn't realize we didn't have a dishwasher. But there's only Dave and I, so it doesn't really matter. But, you know, last year I was in the habit of just, because I work from my office, I go into the kitchen, I make the stuff that I need to make. Usually it's pre-prep, so it's just, you know, containers and stuff like that. I'll wash them tonight, And I ended up, during the day, I'd have dishes in the sink and on the bench. And when I would walk past, and it would drive me nuts. So now the commitment has just been, every time you do every time you make a mess, just do the dishes, wipe the kitchen down, go on your way. And it feels better. You know, it's a small thing, but it actually matters, because all of the times that I didn't do that, it had an impact on my energy. It made me feel like, oh, I really should do that. And that's taking up space in my mind that could be used for other better things. So as I say, it doesn't matter how small that commitment is that you make to yourself, but commit and honor those commitments, because if you do that, you're going to strengthen your self-belief, you're going to strengthen your confidence, you're going to strengthen your knowledge that you can back yourself to do what you need to do, you know, to get the result that you want. It's early in the year. It's in Australia, it's the start of the third day of the year. In the States, you're not even there yet. You've got a whole other day up your sleeve, and in the UK. But Start the year as you intend to end it, and know that however big your goal is, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve this year is going to hinge on the small things. It's going to hinge on those small commitments that you make to yourself. You know, if you say to yourself at the end of the year, you know, I'm not big on New Year's resolutions. I don't have them. Goal setting is just a constant for me. It's a constant. Set goals, achieve goals, set goals, achieve goals. At the end of the year, I do a review and have a look at, okay, what worked, what didn't work, all that stuff. What do I really want the next year to be about? And I set those intentions again and get the goals happening, but they're not New Year's resolutions. They're just part of what I do. But I do love a fresh year, and I love that it started on a Monday this year. But it's early, you know, it's early days. So if you've screwed up already this year, know that at the end of the year, you're going to have forgotten all about that if you change tack now. And look at every single day. If you're overwhelmed by doing all the things and doing all the things perfectly every single day, then forget about that and just think about the one day at a time adage. When you go to bed tonight, can you say that you've ticked the boxes and physically ticked the boxes like I do on all of the things that you want to achieve today? And if you have, then you can go to bed and sleep really well at night. There's nothing better than that feeling of going to bed at night and saying, you know, I said I was going to train today. I said I was going to eat all of my prepped meals today. I said I was going to send out a newsletter. I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to do that. I did all of those things. You go to bed feeling good, and you wake up the next morning feeling excited because there's no hangover from the would've, should've, could've's from the day before. So that's how we really need to live our lives if we really intend to live in, you know, this high performance state where we just achieve the things that we need to achieve without overthinking it, and we're energized to do it. You know, I do a lot of things very quickly. I move through things very quickly, but that's because I spend so much time getting clear and doing the groundwork. Even if I'm not physically writing it, when I'm at the gym, when I'm on my walks, all of those things, I'm formulating my plan so that when I sit down to do it, things happen really quickly. I can't remember the exact saying, but it's something around when you want to chop down a tree, you know, it's better to spend 3 hours sharpening the saw before you chop the tree down, because then you'll do it faster. And that's exactly how I tend to operate. You know, by the time I sit down at my desk and I've got to move through a bunch of work, I've been sharpening that saw in the hours previous to that, or the day prior to that, or in the planning that I've done prior to that. So when the time comes for me to actually implement, it's really fast. That's a tangent. I don't know how I got onto that. But just be disciplined. Be disciplined to do the things that you say you're going to do. And then over time, you're really going to build that self-belief. You're going to build the ability to be able to back yourself, even in the tough situations, to come out on top and to do the things that you know you need to do. Live your life like that this year. Honor the commitments. I don't care if it's the smallest, tiniest thing, like doing the dishes as soon as you've eaten, or you know, not letting your washing pile up, or you know, making sure that you get on social media every day in some form. Whatever it is that you have been avoiding, and this is another tangent, but I think it's useful. Oftentimes we feel like we don't want to take on too much because we don't want to be overwhelmed, but you've got to find that sweet spot for you. If I don't have enough on my plate, I become bored, and then I don't want to do anything at all, and it's really hard to get me moving. So I need to create a lot to do every day, because there's nothing that energizes me more than looking at a massive list like this, and it's a race. Like, okay, now I need to get through this list. And that energizes me and excites me. And as I say, I've sharpened the saw ahead of time so that when this list starts, and it's also in a way that that moves me, it builds momentum. So the first 3 things on the list for me are write my goals, my gratitude, 4 things. Write my goals, write my gratitude list, set my daily money intention, and a guided meditation. They're the first 4 things on my list. And so I'm awake at 5:30 in the morning, and that's how I start my day, as well as journaling. And so by the time I'm done that, I've done that, by the time I finish that 10-minute meditation, sometimes it's guided, sometimes it's just me taking myself through it. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. And it's almost like the arrow is being pulled back, because when I write out my goals, it's like I just want to get at it. And so it's like I'm pulling the arrow back, and then by the time I get up and go and have my shower and sit at my desk, I'm ready to go. So you've got to find what works for you. And for me, having a big list in front of me is what inspires me to get my ass moving and get it happening. And I want to move through it quickly, because the reward at the end of that is some downtime for me. And that's how I work. But if I had 3 things on the list, 3 big things is more than enough, but it's the little things, and adding those things to my checklist just means they get done. One of the things that I was guilty of last year is my website was constantly out of date. I just didn't put the time on it. So on the list is website. So every single day I need to go onto my website, have a look at what changes need to be made, tweak it a little bit, make it better. And if you imagine if I do that every day for 365 days, how awesome my website is going to be by the end of the year. It doesn't mean it's not okay now, but imagine how it's going to be by the end of the year. It's the same with everything else. If I eat my prepped meals every single day, I'm really guilty of under eating. If I make sure that I eat those meals every single day for 365 days, how do you think I'm going to feel at the end of the year? If I say that I'm going to do a guided measure, it's a visualization of what I want my life to be about. Imagine if I did that every single day for 365 days. Imagine how transformed. It's the little things. It's the tiny little things. It's things like, what else have I got on there that I want to share? Some things I don't. Writing every single day, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I do it, but because it's written on there, I've got a book that I need to write. It's just been this bane of my life as I've gone through this transition about where I want to take things and what my real true message is right now. But every time I see write, that's not blogging, that's not Facebook, statuses, that is writing the book. So every time I look at that, I haven't ticked that for the first 2 days and it's driving me crazy. I pulled it, if I wanted to, I pulled out the manuscript, had a look at it, added a couple of words so I could really, tick it if I wanted to, but it's compelling. I'm seeing it on the list. I have a goal to have it published by my birthday, which is the 28th of March. And every time I see that on my list and have to think about it, it's pushing me. It's that positive pressure to push me towards the goal that I have, that I want to achieve. So on that, I have 5 90-day goals, and that always works beautifully because it's just around my birthday time. So I have 5 of those, and then I have a whole bunch of other goals for the rest of the year. And I write those down every day, but I make the priority those 5 that I need to achieve in the next 3 months. And then from there, it's all the other things. So this is keeping me accountable. This list is keeping me accountable, and it's something that you can create for yourself. I'm not going to share this one with you. In the past, I've done that. I've shared my checklists and things like that. And, I think it's better if you create it yourself, because it's about the stuff that is important to you. So what are maybe 10 or 20 things that you want to do day in, day out that is going to move you towards whatever it is that you're trying to achieve? They don't have to be big things. They can be small things as well. Small things. But as long as you do them every day and you look down at the end of every week, my sheet is in 2-week blocks. When I look down, if all of those boxes are ticked, I feel pretty good. And it's really easy for me to fall off it because it's, like I say, I love structure, but I rally against it as well. But that's the commitment that I've made this year, that I'm ticking all of the boxes or getting as close to it as I can. I'm aiming for perfection, but I'll take progress as well. So anyway, just to recap, don't quit on yourself. When you make commitments to yourself, no matter how big or small they are, and even if they're so small that no one would notice if you never honored it, I think that's when it's the most telling. I think that's when it's the most important. If you are honoring the commitments that you make to yourself, that it makes no difference to anybody else and no one would know, or when no one's watching, that tells me a lot about the sort of person that you are. You know, if you do the things that you're supposed to do when nobody's watching, to the ability that you know you're capable of, then you're going to really set yourself up for some incredible success. So don't quit on yourself. Set yourself the commitments that you plan to keep, and then just honor them. It's as simple as that. And every time you go to think about, you know, blowing it off, just think, how am I going to feel if I blow it off versus if I actually just get it done? And keep having that argument with yourself, because, you know, the first few days, maybe you're still, you know, cranking for the first few days, and you might get a month into it and you might feel like it's, you know, it starts to slide. Don't let it. You know, you have the ability to be disciplined every single day. You have the ability to honor your commitments to yourself every single day. You just got to get excited about it every single day and remember your why. And if you do the first things that I do on my list every day, write goals, gratitude, the money one, you know, maybe that's not important for you, and the guided meditation or a visualization of some sort. If you do those every single day as the first thing that you do for the day, then it's going to be easy for you to stay committed, because you're keeping the things that are important to you and why they're important to you front of mind, and that's half the battle. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to go grab myself a coffee and map out some training that I'm about to deliver in the next few days, and go to the gym. Have a great day. Bye.